Well, welcome to the Holy Land and this biblical site of Tel Gath, otherwise known as Tel Es-Safi in Arabic. So anyway, we're going to be hiking up to the top of this. There's some amazing ruins up there. There's an awesome lookout. Gath is where Goliath was from, so just think about it for a moment. Goliath was here. It was a massive city here, a massive tell, so we're going to be doing a walking tour of this. We're going to be showing you all of the details and all of the things up here, some ruins down below. So anyway, we're going to head up the hill and we're going to do a walking tour of Tel Gath. Gath was a large city. It was a Philistine stronghold city. And one of the amazing things here at Gath is this is where Goliath was from. Today now, Gath is also called El-Safi. It's kind of the Hebrew Arabic name. So anyway, we're filming this right in front of some old ruins that are here. This is an old tell. It was large, huge in size. As I say again, it was one of the 5 main city strongholds of the Philistines. Now Gath is located east of Ashkelon, about 17 miles, or about 28 kilometers. And the word Gath means winepress. Now some of the historical background: the site is a large, multi-period site that is made up of many layers. Each layer represents a different phase in the history of the site. Tel Es-Safi, or Gath once again, has a long history of settlement. The site was first settled sometime around 5000 BC. It has been continually settled until modern times. The last settlement here was an Arab village that was abandoned during the Israeli War of Independence in 1948. Now that was some ways away, not right here on the Tel, obviously. Now Joshua and the Israelites were unable to conquer Gath despite the numerous conflicts between the Israelites and the inhabitants of Gath. It wasn't until King David that the city was conquered and became part of the Israelite kingdom, as mentioned in 1 Chronicles 18:1. Its name is most remembered as the home of the giant, Goliath, whom David slew in 1 Samuel 17. So here we are, and it just moves me to think as we've walked around this tell, you can see this media, that right here is where Goliath was from. Many battles were fought here. The Philistines, the Israelites fought here, but this was the home of Goliath. Now let's look at some of the rich biblical things that happened here in Gath or nearby. It has a large archaeological remains that are unusual in that it reveals giants once lived here. And you can see in some of this media and some of these archaeological digs, there are stones that are unique, that are bigger than most stones in this area. So it's believed that, once again, not only Goliath was here, we know Goliath was here, but that other giants lived here as well. It says in 1 Chronicles 28, these were descended from the giants in Gath. So here at Gath, there lived giants. Goliath wasn't the only giant. There were many giants that lived here. So what does the Bible say about giants? What do we know about them? Well, in the lower excavations of this tell, they have discovered rooms that are twice the size of what would be normal. Is this evidence that giants once inhabited this area? Yes, it is, because the Bible specifically says that giants were in this area and names Goliath. So the Bible talks about different kinds of giants. It describes several groups of giants, including the Nephilim, the Anakim, the Rephaim, Emin, and Zamzummim. The Nephilim, mentioned in Genesis and Numbers, are a mysterious group often interpreted as the offspring of the sons of God and human women. The Anakim and Rephaim are powerful, tall people the Israelites encountered in Canaan, with Goliath being a famous example of a giant descended from this lineage. While some interpretations view these giants as a result of a supernatural union, others consider them to be exceptionally large and powerful humans. On one account in the Bible that refers to the Rephaim speaks of Og, king of Bashan. Deuteronomy 3:11 describes his massive bed. It says, "Only Og, king of Bashan, was left of the remnant of the Rephaim. His bed was an iron bed and was 9 cubits long and 4 cubits wide. This would be about 13.5 feet long, or 4 meters, and 6 feet wide, or about 2 meters wide, according to the common cubit. This implies a man of truly enormous stature." The Emin, as found in Deuteronomy 2:10 and 11, are described as a people strong and numerous, and as tall as the Anakim and Emim. These were also giants who formerly inhabited the land of Moab. The last set of giants, known as the Zamzummim, as found in Deuteronomy 2:20, were similar to the Emim. They were giants who lived in the land of Ammon before the Ammonites inhabited it. So really fascinating to just think about this reality of giants. So here at Gath, there lived giants. And it says, "And they fell by the hand of David and by the hand of his servants. It was also the hometown of the warrior Goliath," as again mentions in the Bible. It was one of the Philistine cities where the Ark of the Covenant resided before being taken to Ekron. So when the Ark was captured by the Philistines and King Saul and his son Jonathan died, then the Ark was captured. It was told to Eli. He fell over and died as a result, but the Ark was taken. Then it went to several of these Philistine cities, and of course God punished them and sent them tumors and problems, so the Ark moved around a little bit. So it was here, and then from here it would go to Ekron, and then from Ekron it would be returned back to the Israelites at Beth Shemesh, and that's just headed out that way to my left. When King Saul was seeking to kill David, David went to Gath to hide from Saul and acted like a crazy person because he feared the king of Gath. It says in 1 Samuel 21:10 through 15, "Then David sent out and fled that day from Saul, and went to Achish, king of Gath. But the servants of Achish said to him, Is this not David, the king of the land? Did they sing not of this one as they danced, saying, Saul has slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s? David took these words to heart and greatly feared Achish, king of Gath. So he disguised his sanity while in their sight and acted insanely in their custody. And he scribbled on the doors of the gate and drooled on his beard. Then Achish said to his servants, Look, you see this man is behaving like an insane person. Why do you bring him to me? Do I lack insane people, that you have brought this one to behave like an insane person in my presence? Shall this one come into my house? So it was here at Gath at the gates, and you can see these gates where it's believed that the city gates were, where David drooled at the gates and acted crazy because he was seeking refuge from Saul, who was trying to kill him. So not only was Goliath from here, not only was the ark here of the covenant, but David was here as well. Later, when King Saul was again pursuing David to kill him, David fled again and lived in Gath for a while. So David came here, and then his troops as well came with him, 600 men, and they lived in Gath here for a while. So what are some faith lessons that we can learn from this area of Gath? While Gath proved to be a safe haven for David to flee to in times of need, it was still in enemy territory and enemies of the Israelites. So do we fear things and seek refuge in places that aren't really God's best because we are fearing? So some would believe that it wasn't really God's will for David to come here because the Philistines were enemies of the Israelites. And David was, in essence, aligning with them, and then David was even going to fight against his own fellow people with the Philistines in a battle. In fact, the battle that took place wherein the Ark of the Covenant was captured. But the people and the soldiers didn't want David and his men to go with the Philistines because they feared that David would turn and then maybe go against them in battle. The faith lesson here is, do we fear things and seek refuge in the wrong places instead of fully trusting in God for our own safety and protection? Also, Gath and its idolatry represented all that was opposed to the nation of Israel, just as the Bible presents this world system as all that is opposite to God's will for us. Are we in danger of loving this world system and offering ourselves and getting caught up in this world system instead of being fully devoted to God and His kingdom? So the Philistines represented, in essence, in that day, the world system. And it had idolatry and all of those things. Well, today there's much idolatry as well. We can have many things in our lives that take us away from God. In fact, idolatry or an idol is anything that would replace God's first place in our lives. So do we have idols? Do we have things? Do we fear things? Do we have idols? Are we caught up in this world system instead of being fully devoted to God's kingdom? It says in 1 John 2:15 and 17, "Do not love the world, nor the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the boastful pride of life, is not from the Father, but is from the world. The world is passing away, and also its lust or desires, but the one who does the will of God will abide forever. We should also realize that this world is not our home. This world is not our home, and we shouldn't get lost in its system. We are just sojourners now, and we are ambassadors for Christ, not participating in all the world system and getting lost in it. And we're ambassadors for Christ, and we should understand that our true citizenship is in heaven. It's not in this world. So we shouldn't be living like this world is everything to us. We should be living with an eternal mind, an eternal mindset, where we seek the Lord, we're storing up riches in heaven. That's our goal, not getting lost in the world system, not loving it, but loving God and His kingdom and serving Him. So are we serving the Lord in such a way that we're not getting caught up and lost in this world system? And if we are, it's time to turn to the Lord. It's time to make some changes. It's time to sit down and really think about some changes we need to make in our lives. We are of Christ and His kingdom. So thank you for watching this video, and may God richly bless you.